And welcome back to Just Wing It. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We have a special plane today. We have the newly released from Arrows RC, the 1300mm Bigfoot. Okay, this is essentially a bush plane tail dragging version of the venerable Cessna 150/152. And really, these bush planes are homespun versions of the Cessna 150, and a lot of folks had taken the time to convert the tricycle geared aircraft, if you will, into what they used to call conventional or a tail dragger, and they utilize these in the bush and the rough fields, and it really does make for a very unique airplane. Again, they call these a Texas tail dragger. Don't know where that term originated. If any of you do, please drop in the comments. If I find it in the meantime, I'll put it in the comments as well. But they've called these Texas tail dragger, sort of a nickname. In any event, it's a brilliant airplane. It's a brilliant version of the airplane, and I'm really happy for one to see Arrows RC bring this out. There's been some folks that have done their own version of this with that gigantic E-Flight Cessna 150 Aerobat. It's a 2.1 meter wingspan, and there are some homespun versions of that as a Texas tail dragger. And in fact, I'll try and drop a link to my own video I shot at CEF a couple of years ago of a nice model of that. For those who know me and are subscribers to the channel, and even for those who don't, who are new subscribers, I love bush planes. These are some of the books from my personal collection. This book right here, Arctic Bush Pilot, dates to 1956. And this one's really neat because this one right here, I'll try to not blur the camera out, but it's the history of bush planes, if you will. And it goes all the way back, and I mean all the way back to Curtis Jennings flying in the tundra. I mean, it's really, really neat to look back at some of the deprivations that these folks took. There's a DC-3 landing up in the tundra. There's a Stinson, a Stinson Reliant back in the 1930s, and all that. So some of the maintenance you have to do in the bush, in the snow. Okay, and there's an early tundra tire equipped Piper Super Cub. So this just shows you that they've been doing this for years and years and years. But in any event, today we're going to go ahead and unbox this. We're going to unbox the Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot, so you can see what to expect in this. Again, this just came out. They just started shipping a week ago, about a week ago. Okay, so I got this yesterday. The big brown truck. Actually, I think it was FedEx. So anyways, in any event, this was delivered yesterday, and we're shooting today. So let's see. We have coffee. Check. My little Husky cutting blade. Check. We have an AR-610 just waiting for a plane to go into. This is the amplified antenna. That's a great receiver that does not have AS3X in it. That is a non-AS3X receiver. So that's going to be a perfect fit for the airplane. So in any event, we're going to take this one step at a time. I'm going to go ahead and open the box off camera, show you what she looks like once you open the box, and we're going to take this step by step. So I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. Feel free to post comments or questions below the video. And we're also going to do, or at least I'm planning on doing anyways, an assembly video. And of course, numerous flight videos showing the flight envelope of this model, both off of grass strips. We're going to get some dirt strips in the Mojave. I can't wait to get this thing going. So in any event, on that happy note, stay tuned for a peek inside the box once you open up the cover. We'll be right back. And we're back. Okay, we are unboxing the new Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. And before we go any further, let's go ahead and look at these specs. Okay, so wingspan 1300mm, about 51 inch, about the same size as the old Park Zone Sport Cub, really. Overall length 41 inches, flying weight about 1,300 grams thereabouts. Motor size is going to be a decent size. It's a 35-36 with about an 850 kV. It's 30 amp ESC, so that's good. You have 6 9-gram servos. It's a 6-channel plane, although I'm not sure why. It should only be 5, but that's okay. All right, we'll dig into that. Center of gravity 60-70mm from the front leading edge of the wing. Okay, not anything crazy there. That's an 11.7 2-blade prop. That's a nice prop size, actually. That's a nice prop size, and given the kV of the motor at 850 kV, that's going to have enough grunt to get this plane out of most situations. I would imagine. It's supposed to be powered by a 2200 25C 3-cell LiPo. I can imagine that, who knows how big this thing is. Probably fit up to a 3000, maybe even a 3200. I'm not sure. I don't want to venture that guess just yet, but it wouldn't surprise me. So, in any event, that's it for the specs, and here we are. Okay, so when you open up the box, this is what you're greeted with. You're greeted with the models held in very, very nicely. It's very well packaged. You have your main wing spar right here. My fingers are on it. You have the fuse. Looks like you have the vertical, or correction, the horizontal stab is in there. Okay, I see the horizontal stab in there. It's nestled in there with, looks like probably the owner's manual. Pray tell, does this thing have an owner's manual? Say it isn't so. There's, looks like the light package right there. Okay, so lights, so we have the wings. So very nice. I'm really liking the way these are one screw holding on the control surfaces. You have your aileron and flaps with simulated corrugation. So very, very nice. You have your vortex generators. Okay. So you have your vortex generators here on the leading edge. You got VGs. I like them. And yeah, they're nice. The VGs are molded in. They're molded into the foam, so you don't have to do any two-sided tape or any kind of gluing like that. So enough rambling about this. Let's go ahead and get let's get that Husky going here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut the tape. We're probably going to take a sip of that coffee, and we're going to go ahead and get these parts laid out here on the zebra print. We're going to go ahead and get the parts laid out on the zebra print, and we're going to cover them one at a time. So stay tuned. And we are back. Hey, welcome back to the unboxing of the new Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. And here you go. Okay, we've got everything out of the package. And really, once you look at it, when you look at the size of the fuse and of the wings and just everything laid before you, you wonder how in the world did it all fit into that box. Well, I'll tell you, when you open it up, it's like a Rubik's Cube. All these pieces fit into that box, kind of like a Rubik's Cube. They just all sort of fit in. They're layered on top of each other, and the end part of the box actually comes off. It's held together with tape, the styrofoam packaging that is, and it actually comes apart. So it's really kind of neat the way they did that. So hey, let's get going. Okay, so here we see we actually have an owner's manual. Will you look at this? So what's page 1 going to have? It's going to have all your specs, right? So yeah, it'll have all your specs. I'm sure it's going to have all the center of gravity, all that good stuff there. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice. We'll get into this a little bit later when we actually start to assemble the model. We're going to do that on a separate video, okay? That'll be another video. So here we go. So here we have your baggie with all of the parts that you're going to need to put this thing together. And you're going to have 2 wide leads. Why? Because one's for the flaps and one's for the ailerons. Okay, you can see that they're clearly marked flap, and aileron. Okay, so you have your Y leads, you have your plate for the landing gear. There's 3 screws. Those are going to match up with those 3 screws right here. Okay, so yeah, pretty simple and straightforward. It really is kind of hard to mess up a tail dragger. I mean, it really is. Anyways, there's all your screw package right there, and your Y leads, and we're going to go ahead and we'll get them out of the package here when we start to assemble the plane. We'll show you what that's all about. So here's your 11x7 prop. At least I think it was an 11x7 prop. In any event, yeah, nice prop. It really is. Very nice. Nicely molded. That's going to get the job done. I like the way it's a good old-fashioned thrust prop. It really is. It's rounded tips. It's got a good cross section. That's going to do the job. It's really kind of hefty too. So I like that. Okay, so your spinner and the back plate, it's all plastic. No worries. The spinner actually just sort of goes right into that little groove there at the end of the back plate, and then you have a hex on the back plate, which will obviously key into the hex at the end of the motor. Okay, so nice, pretty much expected. Okay, so you have a really beefy, carbon rod. Okay, very nice. I think that's going to do the trick for what this plane's supposed to do, which is basically some rough field work out in the brush. Okay, very nice. Nice vertical with rudder. I really like the fact that this right here that my thumb is currently on and writing down, that's all plastic. That's hard plastic. Okay, so that's a hard plastic piece that the foam has been keyed into and glued into. So yeah, very nice. It really is. I kind of like this. I kind of like dig that little trim tab out there. Look at that. That's pretty cool too. Anyways, okay, very nice on the vertical stab and rudder, and as typical, it's going to be a foam hinge. Okay, it's already kind of loose, so we're doing good there. All right, let's get on to the horizontal and the elevator. Another one-piece affair. It's got a really nice cross section. Actually, it seems to be fully elliptical anyways, which is nice. Most of your horizontals are, but you can see, yeah, the EPO foam on this has very fine cell composition. It's not that rough. In fact, it's fairly smooth. The decals are on nice. And again, it's a one piece, and the elevators are already held together with that plastic joiner, so you don't have to do anything. It's a foam hinge, and they even have the semi-scale counterbalances as well. Okay, so overall, very good. So here is your horizontal stab along with your elevators, and again, they have the counterbalances on them, just like your rudder will have a counterbalance as well. But in any event, that's a full-scale feature. These models really don't need it, but it adds to the scale. Let's look at the landing gear. I'll tell you what, it's lightweight, but it's very thick. I mean, if you look at the thickness of the gear compared to my fingers, you'll see that it's a solid piece of aluminum that this is actually formed from. The wheels have spacers. And they're very nice. These wheels are very nice wheels. They're kind of hard, okay, just so you know going in. They're hard. They're kind of like little hard donuts, okay. But I'm going to be operating mine mostly off of grass and dirt, so I don't see that as a problem for bouncing. But I'll tell you, these are pretty hard wheels. But in any event, hey, very robust landing gear. Very impressive. Let's move on to the wings here. The wings, your standard two-piece affair. You have your navigation lights, and you already have all the linkages, and the servos are already pre-installed. So you have your traditional style clamp with fuel tubing around the end there. So this will be really easy to adjust. These are the Arrows brand servos, and they again, these are not your standard 9 grams. So let me see if I can get a good zoom in on that here for you. Let me find one here. There we go. And let's get this thing in here for you, so maybe you can get a good look at it. But there you go. There's your standard Arrows. We're starting to get a little fuzzy, so we'll zoom back out. So there's your standard Arrows servo. Again, the linkages are already there for the flaps and for the the ailerons. You have a nice strut assembly. Okay, the strut is already bolted onto the wing. It has the little screw there at the end. Okay, typical of what you would see, and it's taped there. It's taped in place. There are your leads. They're all clearly marked. Well, at least your aileron is, and then of course your channel 5, and your channel 5 is going to be for the flaps, clearly. But they already have the nice tape over the channels, so that can't be seen. You can't just see the ugly, the ugly tape. So yeah, very, very nice, very, very nice. And as you can see, it's very big. The wings basically are already off the other side of the bed. So yeah, so there you go. Very, very cool. Let's move on to the fuse. So here we go, starting at the business end. Okay, there's where that key is on the end of that motor, that 3536, which I think was an 870 kV. Let me look. Yes, 3536 870, or correction, 850 kV. So 3536 850 kV, 3-cell. So it's going to be spinning that 11-inch prop with quite a bit of grunt. I took the battery cover off. It's very nice. It has a little plastic a little plastic catch on a plastic mount. This is all plastic up here on the top, and that just slides back, and it just comes right off. Due to the shape of the hatch, it rides in on these little rails right here. It rides in, it rides up these little indents right here, and then it just sort of clips into place. Okay, so you just slide it in, you push that back, there you go. See that? Pretty easy. So now, if I can do this one-handed, that's the trick. Anyway, okay, so we got it. So as you can see, you're presented and treated to a battery compartment that goes all the way to the front here. It's plastic. And then of course you have your strap. You have your plywood battery tray. I'm going to start mine, I think. I'm going to balance her up front here. We're going to see where she balances. These straight wing Cessnas, any straight wing aircraft, I'm going to go off of what the manual says, but I'm also going to go off of what my eye tells me. And normally, if you go at the thickest part of the airfoil, it should be right about there. If you go at the thickest part of the airfoil on a straight winged aircraft, you can't go wrong. Okay, look at this. Look at this. All right, fans, we have the XT60, probably the most popular battery connector today. It has, I would say, easily surpassed the Deans as far as the #1 connector in the electric RC hobby. You have a lot of room. I mean, I could fit my whole hand down there to fit your connections. I'm probably going to put the receiver down in there. I don't think this thing has a separate receiver hatch. It does not. While we're here, notice that the landing gear mounts are brass. Look at that. Wow. Okay, so the landing gear is going to go into the brass mounts. Nice exhaust pipe, similar to the new, well, I say new, similar to the quite old by now Hobby King Durafly Buffalo has exhaust pipes under that. Very cool, very cool. And again, look how smooth it is. Look how smooth and shiny this EPO foam is. The window decals are great. I bet you could probably someone who's creative could get some. Oh, look. Okay, look at this. It's hard to tell, but look. That's just what I was going to talk about. So there's the door handles. So you could actually get a black marker and trace the outline of the doors. You could get silver for the door handles. Look at that. Huh? Look at that. That's sweet. So yeah, so you can actually, oh yeah, look at that. Oh, come on now, right? So someone who's creative could actually do that. I'm not that creative, but I still might do that. All right. Hey, I just saw this, so we're going to go ahead and show this. You've got brass fittings for the wing mounts. So you have very nice plastic joiners and plastic doublers in there, or joiners rather. And then you have brass fittings, okay? Both front and rear. All right, so all in all, a very good job. And the tail wheel is that part of the tail wheel right by my coffee cup. Okay, so that little wire that's coming out, that will actually key in to right here. So that's going to go in. That's going to go in to right there. So let me see if I can get this right here. Okay. So that right there, that is going to key into right here. Okay, you see that? And then it looks like you just use a screw. You screw it in, and it keeps it in place. You put a screw in from one side, and it'll keep it in place. Okay, very, very nice. Okay, well, hey, yeah. So there you go. So there is the new Arrows RC Bigfoot. Okay, and again, let's take another peek inside that battery compartment. It's big, cavernous. I mean, the front part, I could still stick my whole hand in there. Okay, goes all the way to the front, right here. Okay, it's very nice. I'm probably going to start my battery out through the front. We'll try and CG it, and we'll see where we have to go if we have to move it back from there. This is very, I mean, look, it's very cavernous. So I'm going to put my receiver in here. My receiver, my AR610 receiver, which is a very nice receiver. They have the amplified antenna, so yeah, that's a really good receiver. So that receiver is going to go in here. We're going to bind it to my DX6, and yeah, we're probably going to, I don't know, I'm going to start out at 100% with 30% expo, and we're going to see where we go from there, okay? But for right now, I think that's pretty much going to wrap it. I just wanted to show you really what to expect with your Arrows RC 1300mm Bigfoot. This concludes the unboxing video. I hope you enjoyed what you see. I'll tell you what, I really like what I'm seeing. This thing is great. So we have all the parts laid out for you. And what we're going to do is I'm probably going to be shooting a video showing you all how to put this together one step at a time. So again, thanks for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We are with the new Arrows RC 13mm Bigfoot. Hope you like what you see. Blue skies, fair winds, and happy landings from Just Wing It. Cheers.